Climate change is no longer a topic for discussion, but a reality today with extreme weather patterns already seen in many countries. As the world races to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and an overheated Earth, how is Malaysia doing? Melissa Duis speaks to Shamsul Bahar, the CEO of Malaysian Green Technology Corporation, which spearheads the country's climate change agenda and the shift to a greener economy. Thank you, Mr. Shamsul, for speaking with us today. It's a pleasure to speak with you today.
Thank you, Melissa.
We really appreciate that you're doing this special interview with Weekly Echo. So I'm first going to start off with, ever since you were established as the leading advocate for a green economy, climate change mitigation, and green lifestyle adoption, what would you say is the biggest achievements of the MGTC, or might I add, the Malaysian Green Technology and Climate Change Corporation?
Okay, thank you. Before I get onto it, can we just pass you this
Of course, yes.
document that started around the Green Technology Master Plan, Malaysia 2017 until 2030.
Thank you very much.
So what it does is spell out and chart out the way forward for the whole nation to turn green in terms of green economy, mitigating climate change, introducing and implementing green technologies to the industry, as well as adapting and adopting green lifestyle to the public. Ever since we launched this document, we have sets of targets to ensure that certain amounts are being invested in Malaysia, certain number of green jobs to be created, and products to be generated. So far, we have achieved almost 60 billion worth of investment coming from FDI as well as DDI. We created 150,000 jobs, green jobs especially, as well as producing 13,000 green products and services. Why this is important? Because you look at the GDP. What is GDP? GDP is all about public consumption. So green products is important for the public to actually procure and purchase. And then you have green investment on what the investors are bringing into Malaysia, as well as the domestic investors. Then you have the government green procurement. How much green products the government looking at to procure? Just the latest figures that the government managed to look at about 31% of their products given from the list that we provided are green products, as well as to create more export products. So GDP is all about net export minus net imports. So what MGTC does, we ensure that the whole economy leans toward that, creating green jobs, bringing in investment, as well as producing more green products. Either it's from manufactured locally, from indigenous technology or foreign technology, but manufactured in Malaysia.
Right. So would you say that that actually covers the overview of your operations? Or just for the sake of, layman's understanding, if you can just jot down or explain to us the overview of your operations, that would be great.
We encompass so many other programs, which includes training. We do audits at building to reduce their energy usage. We train energy managers, as I mentioned earlier, training. We created programs that we work directly with either the ministries, with state, with the municipalities, as well as programs that we deep dive directly into the communities. This is where the engagement starts, because the public, they are hungry to be educated on what is green lifestyle. So MGTC plays that particular role on SEPA especially. So when we create all these programs, we meet up with the public directly. We have two particular programs that we engage with the public. One is on Rumah Ibadat Hijau. This is a green house of worship, where we turn house of worship into green. Either mosque, church, temples. We install rainwater harvesting, changing the bulbs to LED, as well as utilizing solar panels at mosque or churches or temple. Now, what it does, once you go to all those areas of worship, you will be going home and telling your neighbors or your family, hey, we got to go green. So this is how we actually manage to get to the ground. We also have eco schools where we engage with school children, either primary or secondary, because the whole mindset of changing the habits towards green needs to start from the young. So engagement with the ones below 12 years old is very important, so that you can have the whole generation to be shifted. As I mentioned, as you know, that Malaysia are leading towards creating a carbon neutrality by 2050. So now it's 2023, so you need about 25 years. So those being born today, by 2050, they'll be 27 or 25 years old.
The right age, yes.
Right age. They'll be in the private sector or the public sector working environment. So this is the ones that we need to actually ensure that there will be this eco shift, the mindset, the habits, the cultural change should be starting now.
Right, so these are the key projects that you are working on recently.
We have a range of projects that we are working on. We even have projects on how to manage your carbon. This is known as low carbon operating system, where the companies or the industry, they could manage their own carbon usage. We have this scope 1, 2, and 3 on what needs to be done. You would be looking at how much carbon being emitted out using your own transportation. Look on how much energy that you are purchasing, that are looking at the source of energy will be coming from coal-fired power plant perhaps. So how this should be managed and how the companies should move towards creating their own source of energy, having solar panels, perhaps utilizing chiller instead of using air condition at buildings. So all these programs that we started out, we bring it out to the public. One of the key programs that we have is AMAS. This is on the energy efficiency scheme on how to reduce your usage of energy. And it is so popular. This is under the ASEAN Centre of Energy. And MGTC have been the prime mover to actually introduce this to Malaysia. And because of the success of the program that we did, ACE, which is headquarters in Jakarta, wanted us to bring it out to the rest of the other nation. So we will bring it to Laos, to Cambodia, to Vietnam. And also we have this iGEM. I know you heard of iGEM.
Yes,
it's
I have,
International
yeah.
Green
Yes.
Technology and Eco-Product Exhibition and Conferences. We have it almost every year, physically. Only for a couple of 2 years during the MCO, we had it hybrid. But the show must go on, so we still pushing it. And this particular exhibition has created a lot of awareness, especially from the industry player, where we brought in more than 500,000 visitors since we started in 2010. And the amount that we pull in, the potential investment, are more than 40 billion worth. So by creating all of this program, we can actually directly get the industry players to understand what needs to be done.
Right.
Yeah.
So now let's talk more about your climate change mitigation plans. So you're working on low carbon zones in state capitals and major areas across the country. Can you share with us how successful that has been?
Okay. If you look at the global context, cities would contribute 70% of the carbon emission, right? So we looked at as well in Malaysia, looking at the major cities, as well as the smaller ones, where they actually need to work towards becoming a low carbon set of development. Now, why it is important? Most of the investors, especially from Europe, they would single out countries that are moving towards low carbon cities, especially,
Right.
where products to be produced will be coming in from the source of energy will be renewable energy, perhaps. There would be like a sort of a limit the number of carbon that been emitted out by the industry. Whatever waste that could be turned into wealth. This is on security. So companies or investors will be looking at this. So the advantage of becoming a low carbon city, you would bring in more investors in.
Right, right.
But it also contributed to the our direction of becoming a carbon net zero greenhouse gas emission by 2050. Even though Malaysia are just contributing almost like 0.69% of the climate change, but we believe that we can actually become a driver. We can become a catalyst to other nations to emulate, to work on. So low carbon city is very important. And what we have done, we have created a few programs for the municipalities especially, to change most of their either appliances, their source of cooling system to low energy. And with the municipalities, we have created zones. Zones are the ones that more than 50 hectare and above, such as universities, campuses, areas that residential areas that are more than 50 hectares. So we introduce a lot of elements into those particular development, such as buildings that have rainwater harvesting, or even residentials. Bulbs and lights, you are using LED.
Right.
Okay, your solar panels installed at most of the roofs. You have even talking about cycling lanes connecting from one building to another. The whole thing is all about creating a whole new lifestyle. But most importantly is that we could bring investors into those cities.
I see that you are collaborating a lot with the state authorities and stakeholders here. How beneficial have those collaborations been, or even any challenges that you've encountered?
Okay, there are always challenges along the way. Thus far, we managed to collaborate with 70 municipalities directly, but there are altogether 155 municipalities. So we have introduced this particular catalyst grant. It's called GERAK, Grant Pemangkin Bandar Rendah Carbon. Hundreds of thousands were allocated to those municipalities to introduce green products within either their buildings, within the area. This includes, as well as I mentioned, cycling lanes, places where covered areas that the public could move and walk towards offices,
Right.
towards building. So the engagement that we have done, we created all these town halls all this while. So we meet up with, we split them into certain zones. We have northern, central, southern, eastern, as well as Sabah and Sarawak. So we meet directly with the municipalities. We introduce programs that should and would be adopted by those municipalities. And we have been successful, but again, how successful you are, that you always move the goalpost to have a higher sort of achievement. So we keep on telling them that what needs to be done and what role they need to play in order to achieve the national target of net zero greenhouse gas by 2050.
Right. Speaking of which, on the country's push to achieve a green economy in Malaysia, you have the My Hijau Mark, I believe it's a certification program
that has seen growth and adoption. How successful do you think we have been in that?
Okay, our target is to achieve 50,000 by 2030, right? Thus far, we have managed to introduce products and services more than 13,000. We still have a huge number, still a tall order. One of the incentivization programs on how to create more green products and services is the GTFS, which is Green Technology Financial Scheme. Rolled out this year amounted to 1 billion. So what it does, we offer loans to the industry. Either the whole process is green, or product they're producing is green, or the service that they're providing is green. Okay. So what it does, the industry will be coming to MGTC, will be vetting the whole process, the whole system to produce that particular product or services, and we'll give them a certificate. Okay. So what they do, they go to the bank, and the bank will guarantee to fund them. Why? Because the government guarantees 60% to 70%, depending on what products you're producing, as well as looking at taking 1.5% from the interest provided by the bank. Okay, this is just one. Then we also have the Gita Gite, which is Green Investment Tax Allowance, as well as the Green Income Tax exemption. So when the industry wanted to embark themselves into green technology products to manufacture, these are being provided. So this created a catalyst for them to incentivize, to motivate them to produce more green products. Now, then we also have the government green procurement. Okay, we give the list to the government on what are the green products under My Hijau. So the government will ensure that they will be purchasing from that particular list. The commitment is to purchase 20% every year, but in 2021, the government have purchased 31% of green products from that particular list. So the government are actually showing, walking the talk. We are doing it, so we want the public, the industry to follow suit.
Right.
So all of this contributed to the increase the number of green products.
Right, and Malaysia also, they've been coming up with initiatives of their own, apart from with MGTC. They're hoping to see an economy here in Malaysia which is less reliant on fuel, lighter on carbon emissions, but more encouraging and promotes more of innovation in green technology. How do you think, in what way do you think MGTC will be able to support the government in these initiatives?
Okay, soon there'll be a rollout of the energy transition. The government has spelled out that by 2050, the energy mix coming from renewable energy should be 70%. That's 70. We are pushing for the industry to actually adopt those. Either they set up their own solar panel within their premises, or they look towards getting sources of energy from non-coal, which is either biomass or even hydrogen. So more and more of this industry are coming up, either producing hydrogen, producing feedstock for biomass, or having more power plants that are relying on biomass. So what needs to be done is the adoption by the industry. Recently, the government introduced the green energy tariff. So whatever energy that you purchase from TNB is green. I think this is very encouraging because it's fully subscribed. So we would encourage the industry players to move towards that. Either you could reduce your own carbon usage by using the low carbon operating system that you can manage your own carbon and finding ways how to reduce those carbon emissions, or subscribe to incentives provided by the government to produce more green products, as well as looking on how to use renewable energy, your source of energy for your operation.
Right. So now Malaysia has also hit success in with the International Green Tech and Eco Products Exhibition and Conference. It's a trade event which actually spurred more solutions, eco solutions, and new innovations in green technology.
Yeah.
What can we expect from the trade event this year in October?
Okay. iGEM will be starting from the 4th until the 6th of
Right.
October. The opening ceremony will be launched by our Honourable Prime Minister on the 5th of October. So far, we have managed to pull in 70% of the exhibitors to fill up the whole space that we provided at KLCC. So we encourage more participants from the industry. Come and introduce what you have, that not only the audience, sorry, the participants would be coming from Malaysia, but also from overseas. We have, up to today, 8 countries already committed to be showcasing their products at iGEM. And with the numbers that we are looking at, 4 billion worth of potential investment. So again, we encourage the public to come, the industry players to come and exhibit at iGEM, because this is the showcase, the platform that the world is waiting for. Because what we have done, we have created a global brand, iGEM. And a lot of countries single-handedly wanted to visit Malaysia because of iGEM. So it is not only getting tourists to come in, but also to create a green economy. Now, beside iGEM, they also have this particular showcasing of the electric mobility. We have the International Electric Mobility Showcase, where we are working together with the EV Task Force. The EV Task Force is under the ministry, looking on how to ensure that the migration from the internal combustion engine to electric vehicle. Now, so IMES, the International Electric Mobility Showcase, will feature electric vehicle, either two-wheelers, passenger vehicle, trucks. We are also contemplating on bringing in aircraft that are using electric, as well as motorboats that use electric. So this will actually show where Malaysia is heading and how we are promoting the usage of electric vehicle.
Right.
So the low carbon mobility is very important, because we have a few quick wins as well as a few low hanging fruits that we need to address. And what Malaysia is looking at is to bring in more manufacturers into Malaysia to produce more electric vehicle. And we are looking to set up the infrastructure by installing 10,000 charging stations by 2025. And once we have the infra ready, the public, the consumers will look at it as it is safe enough to purchase an electric vehicle, so let's try it out.
So just wondering, with these charging stations, will it be centralized just in certain major cities or across the entire country?
It will be throughout Malaysia.
Throughout Malaysia.
Throughout Malaysia. The plan is for the whole of Malaysia to enjoy. So the 10,000 charging station will be installed throughout Malaysia. 90% will be AC, which is the low charging station, and 10% will be DC, will be the fast charging station. Why it's important? Because some of the vehicle, they would only be looking at maybe a few minutes to charge, as low as 15 minutes to get a 80% battery, their battery to be charged. But we are working on with more of the CPOs, the charging points operators. As for today, we managed to have pledges to more than 15,000 charging stations to be installed. So this is very healthy. They are, day by day, the number keep on increasing, and day by day, the number of manufacturers are increasing. because the manufacturers, before they start to introduce the rollout of introducing electric vehicle in Malaysia, they would obviously look on how far we have gone to install the charging station. So with the low carbon mobility blueprint that we introduced in 2021, that single-handedly mentioned that where Malaysia should be heading. And we are very optimistic that we should be getting those numbers. And we are very optimistic that the public will be migrating from using ICE, internal combustion engine, to electric vehicle.
Now, coming to green lifestyle adoption in the country. Private entities have been working very hard to encourage green lifestyle. MGTC yourself, you've been doing a lot to try and promote green living. But what about the people themselves? What can they do themselves to increase the level of understanding and increase their own level of awareness on the importance of green practices towards a planet that is more environmental friendly?
Okay. The public can actually, I believe they are very aware that climate change is real. You have floods happening in northern states, even in our own backyard as well. So they know for a fact that they need to do something about it. But it's just to understand what needs to be done. So we have rolled out a lot of programs under SEPA to educate the public. And I mentioned earlier that we have programs with the communities, with the schools. So those are the ones that we believe that could trigger the change in their habits, in their lifestyle. But again, it all depends on the public themselves. Either you want change or you want to maintain as business as usual and not enjoying the climate that we have enjoyed in the previous years. So it is very important for them to note that whatever things that they're doing now, it is not for them, it's for the future generation. So they will be triggering this so that the future generation can enjoy what they are enjoying now.
Thank you, Mr. Shamsul.
Thank you, Melissa. And we hope that this short interview could change the mindset of the Malaysian public.
I believe so it will. From one generation to the next, we'll get better.
Thank you.
Thank you.